This morning, I didn't expect to become overwhelmed while out walking around Niagara-on-the-Lake. But this morning, it happened. I stumbled upon something that was very interesting to me and something that I want to share with you. So I was out just trying to break in my new shoes, a great pair of orange Adidas. And while I was doing this, I stumbled upon a bridge. And this bridge seemed to be out in the middle of nowhere. It's right between Fort George and Butler's Barracks. And I noticed that there was a sign beside the bridge. And I decided to go over and check it out. And it turns out that this bridge was constructed in 1914 by men of the Royal Canadian Engineers. This area is right where Camp Niagara was in 1914. And men of the 2nd Division of the Canadian Expeditionary Force trained here. And it's so interesting to think that men who built this bridge were at Vimy Ridge and other places on the Western Front. And you start to question, did the men who built this bridge survive? Or is this a lasting memorial to them? Is this something that we can walk up to and we can put our hands on and we can feel connected to the past? After all, they built this structure with their hands, and now we can run our hands on the same structure and think about that connection with history. This is all going on a trail where people are jogging and bicycling and walking and taking their dogs out for a day. And people cross this bridge every single day. And I'm sure hundreds of people do so every week. So the men who constructed this, in essence, constructed a memorial to themselves without realizing it. When they went overseas, they experienced some of the worst combat on the Western Front. Indeed, all of the Western Front was a terrible place to be from 1914 to 1918. But these men were building roads, building bridges, and more. So this was part of their training. They were learning how to work together and build things. And I really find that interesting because this bridge also points to a time of innocence in their lives. They hadn't seen combat yet. They were still young and still wondering what kind of adventure they were going to be going on because the newspapers told them that this was going to be an adventure, told them that there was glory involved with it. And they didn't really understand the reality of what was to come. We know what happens because we have hindsight. But the men who built this bridge really had no idea what they were going to see. So to me, this is a memorial to the men who were there at Camp Niagara, the men who were lost in combat, and also an innocence lost. In that way, when we connect ourselves with things around us that were built or were placed there by someone who came before us, we need to think about when this was constructed or when this was placed in that particular location, what the intention was, and what is the legacy of this? What is the historical memory of this plot of ground or of this bridge itself? Do people consider this legacy when they walk across it, when they take their dogs for a walk, when they bicycle over it? Hopefully, a lot of people do. But it's these small moments that we have to look to connect ourselves with history. And local history is just as important as those massive histories that we talk about in textbooks and beyond. All history is local. And there's World War I history around where you are. It's important to find things like this bridge because this is a bridge from the present to the past. And to connect ourselves with it, to embrace it, to be one with that kind of history is to learn from it, is to consider what it means to those of us who see a structure like this and we talk about primary sources. We discuss how we can connect ourselves with the past. This indeed is a bridge to the past and something that we should think about when we interact with it, when we touch it, when we walk over it. It's imperative to keep this kind of history alive. and to be able to discuss it amongst our peers. Who knew that on a morning walk, we could start discussing some deeper things about history and memory? It's these kinds of moments that make me want to learn more. When you are a historian, you are a student for life. You're, in my opinion, never an expert. You're trying to learn more and more. You're questioning more and more, and you're listening more and more. We can think about these men in different ways and this bridge in different ways when we interact with it. Hopefully, people who cross this bridge will think about those who constructed it and think about the legacy of what they thought they were fighting for, what they considered right, what they considered true, and what that means for us in the 21st century. The legacy of the men who constructed this bridge is with us today, whether we know what happened to them or not. If they died on the battlefield, they may still be buried on the battlefield. They may be in some far off cemetery, but their legacy is on this small trail in Niagara-on-the-Lake for all to experience.